up, everyone?
What's up?
Welcome back. It's Price to Sell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick.
Yeah, this guy lost his voice.
It's just different. But I think it sounds good.
It sounds raspy.
Does it?
It's like a radio voice now.
Nice. It's like I
Yeah.
got more Riz.
You should be on Howard Stern.
I don't know about that.
Mm.
Might get canceled.
Yeah.
But I'm with Kash today, and we're just going to chat about what we've been up to. Like, you guys have probably seen many different things
Mm-hmm.
with Price to Sell. You know, obviously Kash is here, and we want to kind of explain what we've been up to and going through and fiddling with and flirting with, because it's been a lot of different ideas. The podcast space has been great. Podcast has been amazing. I want to thank you guys for the past 2 years. It's been awesome. Done amazing things for myself. I know a lot of you guys have found value, but we're always trying to grow. And as the times change, so do different landscapes and industries, the podcast being one. There are a lot of real estate podcasts out there. So me being me and the team I'm with, naturally just want to start doing different things and elevating, right? Don't want to stay stagnant. It has plateaued. It has. We do have our diehards who are always tuning in and stuff, but ultimately we want growth. So I was doing skits with Kash, and we're having fun with it. He's a fun
Having
guy.
a blast.
Having a blast.
Yeah.
Then I said, you know what? I think sometimes it's not how to do things, it's who. And partnering up and teaming up with people can help elevate their certain things. So we're like, why not bring Kash on in some capacity?
I think it was more. So to me, this is a
Yeah.
very special episode because it's more of a heart to heart.
Yeah.
You guys get an inside perspective between our conversations and what me and Matt have been kind of discussing in the backgrounds. We do a lot of skits together. We have a blast with them. It's fun. I wish I could do those on a full-time basis.
Same.
And I've gotten to know Matt a lot more. Extremely always down to do anything. You're like fearless in that sense, and also very lovable. So I think that's where I get to see how your business has grown so much, is because you're very trustworty, lovable, transparent guy.
Thanks, man.
I'm getting teary eyes just saying that, so I do appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Is it because it's Christmas time, or
It's Christmas time. It's lovely.
you want to give me a hug?
Also, it's very dry. I think I'm getting sick too. You might
Are
get
you?
me sick too. Yeah.
Sorry.
But today we're talking a little bit about our content and opening it up to you guys and giving you a bit of an insight. Matt called me a while ago and says, "Hey, do you want to host Price to Sell a few episodes with me and see how it goes?" And he's like, "I want to try some lives." And I said, "I'm down." And I do agree that the real estate industry is a very limited industry. You've almost had everybody. I mean, obviously you're the first and the premier and the pioneer of real estate podcasting in Toronto, at least. And you've had almost every single guests over who's been a top producer in the industry, who's done very well for themselves. They've broken down their business about how they do things and how they create content, how they generate leads and what's important to them, blah blah blah. And eventually, obviously, you've run out of people. There's always enough people to interview, but you've run out of the main characters to that are in the industry and doing all the deals, and it's becoming a bit more repetitive. We got to be honest with that, because realtors, when you have them on as a guest, they're also trying to stay within this band of professionalism.
Yeah.
Because they want to maintain their image towards their clients. So they're not going to be the most controversial people to have on a show, right? And so you get a lot of the same answers, believe it or not. So the audience is like, okay, I've heard this multiple times. Collaboration over competition. Great. Great messages, don't get me wrong. But I think Price to Sell has reached the point where it's grown pretty big. How many subscribers do you have on YouTube?
1.14.
Which is great. For YouTube, it's good. And those are diehard fans, people that follow you. They love your personality, and they want to hear more from you. And I think me and Matt have been kind of brainstorming, and I've been trying to help him out with ideas about where to take the show a little bit to make it more broad and more relatable to the general audience.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And some of the things we've thought about is adding some entertainment value, like reactions to videos or topics that are happening around the city, or even incidences or accidents or whatever that's on either MBH TV, By the way, MBH TV, they're like the new Six Buzz,
Yeah.
and but a little bit more professional, I would say. I would assume.
Yeah. Somewhat.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Better vibe, I think.
Better vibes.
Yeah.
More business savvy.
Yeah. So like this is where we are right now, and we're gonna talk to you guys a little bit about our thought process, our content. You know, how we come up with our skits. Where do you think Price to Sell? Where do you imagine Price to Sell going in the next year or two?
Well, when I first started, I always was like, the dream was like, can they get on like the Ryan Serhat?
Mm-hmm.
Then I got him, and then from there, there's so many other big realtors out there that I would love to have on and will have on. You know,
Mm-hmm.
whether they're in Miami, LA, all these big cities, the celebrity realtors, right?
Yeah.
But then again, it's still like, once I get all those guys on, then what?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not like I'm tapping into the entrepreneurship space where there's hundreds and hundreds of guests that can just feed me through their networks.
Yeah.
It's more so just realtors.
Yeah.
So I think the audience as realtors, we are entrepreneurs at the end of the day too.
Mm-hmm.
And broadening the guests to different types of guests, not so much in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Like the real estate investor, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a bit of a process. Been trying to figure it out, you know.
Yeah.
And the podcast game is changing,
Mm-hmm.
which is why we try the lives,
Mm.
which have been fun.
Yeah. Really
Right?
fun.
But it just goes to what you and I enjoy the most. I think it's the acting, getting in front of the camera, the skits, stuff like that. So expect to see a lot of that from us because
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna be going hard on that.
Yeah, and the way I imagine Price to Sell, because you know you've got the realtors, but Price to Sell, first of all, was a very, it's a great name,
Mm-hmm.
Price to Sell. Like I thought that was very clever the first time I heard it, but it could be applied to many different things. I think you gotta maybe explore options, go further out, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs, like you said, and people who may give you more authentic, raw answers about their business. Because realtors always try to uphold an image,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And it's great. You've done a great job at digging into it and finding out how people run their business. But I think going forward, like one of the things we've discussed is like having other entrepreneurs that will give you the raw, uncut version of how they run their business, which those tips are also applicable to real estate. If you're an entrepreneur in real estate, you could still take those tips and apply it to your business. Like content creators. You know, this morning I shared something about Kevin O'Leary talking about how 3 years ago when he was asked what's the most important or where you would grow the most, what degree, and he was like engineering. But he's like, now he's changed his mind and he thinks people who are able to tell a story by making videos or content about a business are going to be doing very well in their careers.
Yeah.
And so this here is very important to a lot of the viewers out there watching and wanting to do exactly what we do. Being comfortable on camera, being able to put yourself out there, test new things, and create content that bring awareness to your business, your personality, and who you are.
Yeah.
So Price to Sell has done that very well for you.
Yep.
And this is what I was telling Matt yesterday on the phone. I was like, the difference between you and I is that I've only really focused more on skits. So people see me as more of a joker. But with the Price to Sell podcast, it's given Matt a connection to all these realtors. You know, from every, you know, tier of the business. And it's the relationship he's built with these realtors is very, you know, it's valuable.
Yeah, it's good. It's deep connections. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And before we even continue and get further into this chat, we'd love for you guys to reach out if you have any thoughts on where you think we should take this.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that you find super valuable or ideas where you think that we would excel at,
Mm-hmm.
let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Holy.
Yeah.
I'm very healthy, by the way.
Yeah. I hope it's not COVID.
It's not.
I'm going on vacation next
You
week.
kidding me? Come on.
So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to contribute in their comments and say what they would like to see from Price to Sell,
Yeah.
or what they would like to see from you.
Reach out to me directly
Mm-hmm.
if you guys have any suggestions. But we're going to continue to try new things.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to see different things here and there.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it will click. We're going to find what works.
Mm-hmm.
Just like this, when I first started Price to Sell, no idea where I was going to take it.
Mm-hmm.
We just started it. We came up with the name. I'm a realtor, so naturally I felt comfortable bringing on other realtors.
Yeah.
Then it became realtors.
Yeah.
And it became real estate industry related.
Mm-hmm.
But to grow now, we're going to start expanding. So luckily we have a network through the team. We have a good network. We'll be able to tap into some bigger guests, and that just snowball effects down the road, right? So,
but one thing I think is very powerful that we shouldn't be giving up on is the skits.
yes.
It's the comedy, it's the laughter, because that's joy, and laughter is something that's universal. Like you can have someone in Africa watch our videos, not understand English,
Yeah.
and have a good laugh at it.
Yep.
And then create that kind of connection with you and your content.
Yep.
So
And that's not going to stop. We're going
that's
to
not
double
gonna
down.
stop. Yeah.
The pod is just, it's
Complementary.
complementary. It's foundational. Those who really enjoy it and value it are going to listen, right? But in terms of our growth, I think we excel definitely in the skits world, and you guys are going to see us at it with a lot more. And through that, just many doors can open, you know?
I always also gauge it based on like what is less, what can you find less of out there?
Yeah.
And acting and skits and being able to deliver a message through comedy is very powerful too.
Yep.
And some people will discount that and be like, it's not necessarily professional. But you may think that way, but there's big corporations and companies who spend millions, if not billions of dollars on like Super Bowl commercials.
Yep.
That exactly do the same thing.
Yeah, same vibe.
It's same vibe. The only difference is now there's a shift in marketing. The polished, overproduced content is not as effective as the user-generated content.
Yeah.
You know, the raw content. People want to see something that's authentic. And I feel I watched this video talking about humans can very well sense authenticity. And that's why when you watch a video and you cringe, it's because you can sense that like that person's trying too hard.
Exactly.
Right? So I think what we're doing is very powerful. It's going to be even more powerful over the next 5 years.
Agreed.
So definitely should be doubling down on delivering a message through skit. But I think we should also do, you know, we've been bouncing some ideas about a show. We won't say too much about it, but I think it brings our personalities together very well.
Yeah, and we have a funny contrast too, which I think is just really good for TV, we'll call it. But Kash is the family man, 5 kids, 6 on the way.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how his mornings look, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty hectic.
Then you have me.
Cat.
It's just me.
Yeah.
With a cat.
Yeah, I met his cat for the first time.
Yeah.
Spro. He's
like
so
an espresso.
cute. Yeah.
Coffee. Very Vaughn. It's a very Vaughn thing. You can chirp me all you want.
He reminds me of you, like his demeanor.
Yeah,
he's very friendly,
he's
very
super
chill, very chill.
Just chills on his back with his legs open.
Yeah, I haven't seen you do that yet, but
Yeah, I might soon.
So
Do you want to give? I think we give the audience a little insight. I get a lot of questions like this all the time. How do you guys come up with your ideas?
yeah, I
How
was
do
just gonna
you-
get into
Oh,
that.
sick,
Yeah,
okay.
see, we're starting to
See,
read
there
our.
you go. We're starting to be telepathic.
Yeah, and the side note, this is what's very important when you're making content with someone, when you're collaborating with someone. Your first few pieces may not be as natural because you're trying to sense each other out. It's like a dance.
Yeah.
You feel each other out. You see where your strengths are. You see what you could throw at each other. And I think we've gotten to that point now. I think we're finally opening the floodgates of like, I know who this guy is. He's like a brother to me. And we're very comfortable together. So we know
Yeah.
where we would fill, you know. So let's talk a little bit about our content. For me, there was 2 types of, you know, like the pre-reels, like before Instagram started reels and stuff. I used to just strictly come up with original content ideas. Like I would really go through scenarios with clients or things clients would tell me or through something that happened and put a funny spin to it and come up with an idea. That's why if you go back to my old skits, they're kind of like the real skits where it's like, it's not a trend that I took and put my spin on it. It was like a original idea. It was very hard to do. Hard to do because you have to like really just think of the shot list and what shots you want and so on. Now with reels, I kind of get inspired by them, you know, and it cuts down my time for thinking it through. But tell me a little bit about when you started. Like I'm sure the real estate jargons, for example, that's original ideas.
Those are original, but I was way before that. I think that's when you started to notice me. I think a lot of people have noticed me through that, but it was for me. I thought I needed to do content around my listings, so I would wait till I had a listing, and then I would do it. So my first one was this custom home I was selling, and I was my first time getting different. But I took my my colleague at the time, Augustus, good friend of mine, because he co-listed it with me. Because I was still new and I needed help. It was a big listing, right? 1.3 at the time was huge.
Yeah.
And then But I'm like, screw it. This is a gorgeous property. I got to do something different. I want to do my idea where he's showing the house like a regular realtor, like 10-foot ceilings, pot lights throughout, granite countertops. And then I'm in the background doing weird things. So starts off, he comes in the house. But like, it's like one of those things, if you notice, you notice.
Yeah.
If you see me, you see me.
Mm-hmm.
If you miss it, you miss it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he's walking in the house, and in the background, you see me eating a banana on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying a word.
Yeah.
It's just, it's like, what the fuck's going on back there, you know?
Yeah.
Just to throw people off. Like, that's what I troll. I'm a big troll.
Yeah.
And then he's in the kitchen, he's showing the kitchen, and I'm just in the background with an apron that says, spooning leads to forking. And I have the salt and pepper shaker upside down. Then another scene where he's showing off the basement, and I walk out of the cantina, because I'm Italian, the cold cellar, with two jars of tomato sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see it, you see it. And people loved it. And then I'm like, okay, we got to do another one. Then we did a Christmas video where it's like, I came up with this idea of like, a client is Google searching, all I want for Christmas is a great realtor. And then it's like 5 a.m. And then the doorbell rings, and he goes outside, and there's a huge box that's wrapped. And then me and Augustus pop out of it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I heard you were looking for a realtor. And he's like, the hell? I guess Christmas came early. Then it just cuts to music, and we're running in the park with him, we're dancing, blah, blah, blah.
Joyful.
Yeah, joyful. So those are my original ideas, all from the brain, all from the dome, but centered more so around houses, and then around holidays as well.
Yeah.
And then I started to switch to, because reels weren't out yet. Reels came out, and then I started to shift to, okay, I need something more like shorter, and in volume. So the real estate jargon was one, little things like that.
It's very difficult. I don't think people who don't make content understand, like, reels when they came out, and they were so short. It was like 30 seconds at first. Was it?
Yeah, it was super short.
Yeah.
Super short.
It's so hard to deliver a message
I know.
and create a skit within that time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and
big
so
time.
like that was challenging, but it also taught me a lot about cutting the fat out of my content.
Yes.
Because like you'd make a thing, and all the dead scenes, or like it's quiet, and you know, you kind of cut all that out and get to the point much faster, and it kind of gives you an idea of how to do things differently. But right now, nowadays, we have group chats going on. It's us two with videographers, and we're like, hey, we got to make a skit. The way we work better under pressure.
Yeah, we do.
It's by booking the date first,
Yeah.
without the idea.
No.
And then coming up with the idea.
Literally the morning of.
Yeah. Hey, do you have this prop? Do you have that prop? Let's do it.
Yeah. We try. We tell ourselves, like, because every Friday we're recording.
Yeah.
Wednesdays we get on calls. Let's research the skits, come up with some ideas. Thursday, we organize. Friday we shoot. That doesn't happen.
But before real estate, did you ever make content before, like videos or anything like that? School projects?
No. In high school, I always wanted to. There's just no platform to do it on. And me and my buddies always used to talk, like my buddy Dan, all the time. It's like, if we made videos, if people only recorded us how we are, it would be hilarious, So when I got into real estate, and then I saw realtors making videos.
Who did you see first?
Oh, Mark Salerno.
Mark Salerno?
Big time.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of the pioneers, no?
He's the pioneer, in my opinion. So, still is.
Yeah, he does a lot of content. But they're mostly just listing videos. Like,
yeah, he crushes. That's his vibe, though.
Yeah.
He's really good at it. He's super well spoken.
I remember he used to put the cars on the driveway.
Yep.
Like he put the nice S-classes or whatever.
Yeah.
That's how I remembered him.
See, I'm the type I'd rather throw like a Toyota Prius.
Yeah, me too.
Like
go against the grain.
Yeah, going against the grain.
That's why we get along, because we like to go against the grain. And
something stupid.
Yeah, almost being like, I don't have to show.
Exactly.
I don't have to.
That's just me. That's why I'm like, I like to troll. It's one of those things, like the subtle dry humor. Yeah, that's my vibe. Yeah, that's been the vibe.
Yeah, and so, would you recommend like when it comes to content, because a lot of people want to make content but they don't know where to start? Would you recommend some sort of like what's the first few steps would you say are most important? Because I've thought about this. I have a lot of conversations with other realtors within the brokerage, outside of the brokerage, who ask me like, where do I start? And they do what I do. What I started doing when I first wanted to make content was procrastinate and use excuses like, oh, I need this light, I need this mic, I got to order this, I got to paint my wall, I got to create a thing. And like, I feel like I just delayed everything, and I bought a bunch of shit that I never used, and I ended up making videos with my cell phone. I went back to what it was.
Yeah, in terms of, so I'll go off on ideas.
Yeah.
And I always struggle with this answer, but I feel like I'll just say this now. I don't think I can answer that for anyone. Because I'm trying to think, how did I start with my videos? How did I come up with my ideas? It's just, I just went deep into like, who is Matt? What does Matt enjoy doing? I love that type of humor. I was excited by the idea of it. So I made content around it. You might be out there and you might literally, obviously you know who you are as a person. You know what makes you tick. Whatever excites the shit out of you, whatever you're into, make content around that, centered around that part of you.
Yeah.
That's the best way I could say it. I was always trying to be like, oh yeah, you know, just be authentically you and find out, like, ask your friends like what they like about you most, blah blah blah. But no one's gonna tell you what to do. True. Yourself. Yeah. Like no one would have came up to me and be like, Matt, you need to make dry humor trolling videos.
Yeah.
No one had that answer for me.
I think the problem with a lot of people who haven't started making content, or they've made little content, is getting too hung up on how they look and sound.
That's a big one.
Right? That's a big one. And I think the only way you get over that is by just starting to make just draft videos.
Yeah.
Just do them at home. Don't post them. Just make videos of yourself talking. And remember, it may sound foreign to you because that's the first time you're hearing yourself played back.
Yeah.
But that's how people hear you all the time.
It's facts.
And that's how people see you all the time.
You know, it's funny because you'll get weird. Like I got things like, I love your voice. I always hated my voice personally.
I like your voice.
Thanks, but I didn't like my voice growing up. So it's funny because you're gonna get this feedback that you never thought you would have gotten in your life.
Yeah, true.
And then it's like, okay, that's a confidence booster. That's an immune boost.
Yeah.
Because immune as well, because it'll help your sinuses if you get compliments. Can you compliment me? I need help.
Yes, you're beautiful.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That worked. That was good.
So when I first started making content, there was a lot of obstacles, and part of it was how I sound, how I look, what do I talk about, and that's why I went towards the funny stuff, because like I was a funny dude to begin with, and like, you know, class clown. I'm sure you were too.
Yeah.
And it's like, use what you have as strength, because we live in a time where we have to show our personality in our business, you know. And it's crazy because some people also get political. You know, like if you have, for example, what comes to top of mind is Adamson's Barbecue. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Over COVID, like he refused to shut down. He was like, this is all BS, blah, blah, blah. And they
blew up.
Yeah. For the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
He was on the map, but I think now his business is closed. So beware of how far you go. But but you got to be comfortable to put yourself out there and speak of the things you like, things that you're strong at. And this is what we're trying to do actively. Yeah. You've been doing it how many years?
The pod?
Yeah, like, or content in general.
Oh, since 2018.
2018, I think approximately same time as I started. I have very little.
5 years.
5 years.
5 years is always a sweet spot.
Yeah.
A 5-year mark.
Yeah, it's a growth. It's time for growth.
Yeah, when you look back, it's like, where was I 5 years ago? It's holy crap. Now can you imagine the next 5 years?
Exactly.
Right?
And I think this is what we need to do, is we've committed to delivering content to the audience. We've built an audience. We have people who expect some stuff from us, you know, whether it's skits or value, real estate related stuff. And now we want to take it to the next level.
Exactly.
You know, together, individually, but, you know, we have a bond here. We have a brotherhood. We're going to be making content together. And we hope to take it to the next level and have you guys involved. This episode was more of that. This is
a raw, like, here's where we're at.
Yeah.
We're not sure.
We're not sure.
We're not sure. Straight up.
And that's one thing you need to realize too. If you start your content process, you're never going to have it like figured out. It's always evolving. It's fluid. It's you're going to make content that you're going to be happy with. And then 6 months later, be like, Am I really gonna keep doing this?
Yeah.
You know, I want something new.
Yeah.
And you're always gonna be looking for new change. Or you'll watch someone else's content and be like, I really like that. I wish I could do something like that.
Yeah, it's gonna mess with you so much.
It's gonna mess with you.
The landscape is changes so fast and drastically. And if you're somewhat of an entrepreneur out there, you're gonna have that thought process like, shit, I should do this now. Shit, I should do this now. So it's like consistently anxiety inducing,
Yeah.
which you gotta watch too.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful with that because there's so much information at such high speeds nowadays that you're gonna consistently feel like you're behind, but you're not, and that could really get to you. So
Yeah.
don't I struggle with that. I'm sure you do too.
Me too. Yeah.
So
I don't
yeah.
post as often as you do, and sometimes I'll see you post. I'm like, "Ah, shoot, I gotta like post something.
I feel the same.
Really?
Yeah.
But look at I have like 200 posts. Like I don't have.
That's
You
how
have like
it
over
is.
1,000
That's how it is, though. That's
Yeah.
how we think.
because it's all perspective.
It is.
You may look at it a certain way, but it's not the reality.
I just posted today, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah.
Jeez, that gives me anxiety. But this is the funny thing. It's like some people will watch me and or like we'll be chatting and be like, "You post all the time." I'm like, "I do."
Yeah.
I always think I don't post enough.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. Like, don't be scared to take a break too. Because
Yeah.
I used to take a break 1 month in July and
Yeah.
1 month in December. Like usually December I would be like nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And people would ask like, where have you been? And yes, people do speculate negatively.
For sure.
Oh, he's no longer making content, or he's like not doing good in business. This is the issue: is whatever you put out there is what people are gonna think of you. So if you're not putting content out there, they think, oh, what happened to Cash? You know?
Yeah.
They think, but then you come right back and they forget that you took a month off. So
Exactly.
don't let it dictate your life, but do get on it because we are going through a transitional time, I think, where everybody's valuing content.
An important thing to note too. Some people, I've seen a lot of this year. It's like, oh, not saying for myself, but just what I've heard in general. It's like, oh, those agents just make content. They don't sell houses.
Yeah.
Not like I sell, Cash sells. We sell at a high level. But I think that sort of feedback maybe has stopped some of you from wanting to make content because you might think it takes away from your business. And I'll tell you for free. I won't charge you. My business has probably tripled because of making content. Like I'm busier than ever. I do a lot.
Yeah.
Like I balance a lot, but I am busier than ever.
And I'll be honest with you. I'll be completely honest with the audience. I think Matt's content brings him more business than my content. My content does bring me business, but I think your type of content, because of the podcast that balances your funny stuff, the funny stuff I always say is a hook. It brings people to your page. They're like, oh, that's hilarious. Who is this guy? Let me click and see. And then they see your podcast and it gives them a perspective, an inside perspective of your personality and your ability to speak the language of real estate and the vocabulary. So in that sense, I do respect that, and I think I do, and I can see him doing deals nonstop, which is really good.
That's the thing. I'm posting it. You're not.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
I don't post. Yeah, I don't post the deals as much. I don't post.
It helps.
It does help.
People shit on that, eh? The just souls and stuff. Like, oh, I don't need to post that stuff, but do it.
Yeah, but I will share this because I know there's a lot of realtors out there. In 2022, I did 200,000 just from content.
Yeah.
From people who reached out.
How are you
Instagram.
tracking?
Because I can see which deals I made, where they came from. And it's not like that you make one video and they call you and they do business with you. But the way it works is that they'll start following you for 2 years.
Yeah.
They'll engage with you in the DMs. They will start talking, and then eventually you're like, hey, by the way, I want to sell my this, or my dad wants to buy a house, or like someone I know.
Yeah.
They make the introduction, and then it might be completely not them. It's someone they know, but it still is indirectly to me. It comes from social media.
Nice.
Because that's where I found the point of
It's good that you track.
Yeah. So it was a big chunk of my business, and like that's where I saw the true potential. But it took me years to get to that point. You know, the first few years, nobody called, nobody wanted to do business.
That's the thing.
I feel like it takes time.
It does take time.
Yeah. So this is kind of like what this episode was about, just a raw inside look of where we're at with content, with business.
Ideas.
Yeah, just quickly, actually, how's business going for you?
Great.
I feel like it picked up over the last
Couple weeks?
3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, I just got like random offers on my properties that were sitting.
Same.
Still, I mean, negotiations are like 3-4 days right now. It's a long process.
Well, it's tough because buyers still think that they can get a discount, and then sellers still want to hold out.
Like I don't know. Are you listing heavy? I'm only listings.
So
right
this
now.
is the funny part. I kind of discouraged my sellers from coming on the market during Christmas time. And, you know, historically, it's always been like that. Like, it's not a good time. The ones that I have on the market right now are the ones that really need to sell.
Yeah.
and finally getting offers on them
Yeah.
and showings picked up out of nowhere. I sold one just yesterday.
Yeah.
So great, it's been great, but this is the business. There's ups and downs.
Yeah.
And the thing about us is we'll give it to you how it really is. You know, we'll tell you the truth. Like last month, I was pretty slow. I have all these things sitting around and barely getting any showings. Even the leases are not getting traction.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, 2-3 weeks
true.
ago, it started picking up.
Yeah.
So our business has a lot of ups and downs like that. And so is content. There's a lot of ups and downs in content. Sometimes you make a piece of content you're not happy with, but you got to just put it out there because people won't remember.
Yeah.
They'll watch your things. They're not even thinking of you. They're not criticizing. They'll criticize you briefly and then they'll forget but they'll remember that you've been busy.
Exactly.
They'll remember that you're active. And that's really the main key here with content and business and everything else. So
Agreed.
Well,
good chat.
Great chat. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we should do this more often.
Yeah.
But kind of on the road, like a moving kind of podcast.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree.
Where we shoot the shit, but we're also engaging in neighborhood activities and businesses and trying out different things.
I think so.
Hey, maybe that's the show that we should come up with.
Maybe.
Stay tuned and find out.
But let us know, guys. Reach out if you guys have any suggestions. And as always, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
We'll see you on the next one.
Peace.